Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sunday message edition of A Different View. Today's topic, it's a special one today, being today is Father's Day. First of all, happy Father's Day out there to all of the dads, whether paternal or birth or step, as the words are used. And again, I reference this to my audience. Words and phrases, to be very careful of the words and phrases that have been used, that have been made, because it has changed our views drastically. And by drastically, I mean real drastically. If you start to do a history study on a lot of words and phrases, you see a lot of where the shaping mentally of the society that we're in was going. And one of them we're going to talk about today is the word father, because it's a pretty big one. I think by the end of this episode, maybe we all will have, again, a different view in light on what it means really to be a father. The slang word we use is dad, but really to be a father. So, and of course, we all realized a bunch of years ago, Father's Day was made to highlight and give honor and respect to fathers. And of course, I do apologize to the moms out there, any women that may listen to this episode. I just started this podcast. It just so happened right around the time of Father's Day, but we will get to mothers come next year. So do not tune in. Keep tuning in here, and we will definitely address mothers on the back end. But I think I'll give a little bit of shout out here to the family dynamic and how we talk about this. So let's hop into it. First of all, just kind of looking over some info here. Maybe it will be a surprise to some people that the word father in Dutch is Vader. Being a Star Wars fan, that actually made me feel pretty good. But and for those who have watched the story of Star Wars unfold here from 1977 till now, you see how big redemption can be. What a role that parents primarily, and again, you're going to see me go back and forth here a little bit, ladies and gents. That's not to disparage away from one group over another or anything like that. But this is solely primarily talking about fathers. So it's not to negate the role of a mother or the mother figure in a family dynamic. This is solely just for the father, for the fathers here. So, which is good. It's good to give credit to each group here, and both play an important role. So. So Vader in Dutch, in German it is Vater. The word father is Germanic in nature. Germanic means where words are coming from certain parts of the planet. I know living in America, everybody kind of thinks that it's all just kind of generating from here, but it's good to learn the world around us here, because it gives us better meaning to the life we're living. So Germanic in nature. Comes from an Old English word spelled Faeder, Fader. It's introduced back in 1816. So that's a pretty cool little thing here. Just to realize, when you look at a lot of words, you'd be shocked at how many of them actually, even earlier before that, but 1800s was big times for some words that were made. So that's kind of a cool thing. In Africa, it's said as Baba. Another way of saying it, and again, this is the Sunday message, so you're going to be hearing a lot of Christian-based things here. So again, for those who, I said this last time on my last Sunday message, but for those who are not Christian, bear with me. Some of the things I think in many religions do coincide one to another, which is a separate topic that we'll get on one day. But again, for those who are not Christian, I do say, please bear with me. And for those who are Christian, buckle in, because it will get kind kind of interesting here in a minute. So in Africa, another word that is used for father is Abba. And we have heard that when we reference God. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about how we address God as Abba, which is kind of cool because it kind of shows where a lot of the birthplace of us as humans, as far as the Bible is concerned, kind of references to. Many of these words and phrases comes from a certain part of the planet. Its origins and such, as well as all over the world that we see. So it's good just to give different perspectives here. So in society, normally, and with the different perspectives, here's where we jump in to a little bit of the topic at hand. So in society, a lot of the norms has always been for fathers and dads to be the breadwinner, more or less where moms are the ones who give the emotional support, but dads give the knowledge, or the guidance, if you will. And even in different cultures of the world, which, again, for those of you, I'm going to be posting this on at least one of my, other than Spotify here, on one of my other, words escape me, on one of my other social platforms. And I'll leave a little poll or a little place to give some comments here. If there's other parts of the world where you guys are listening, or friends that, hear this, where you've got different ways that father, the word father is portrayed in your culture and stuff like that, please leave that in the comments. It's always good to learn and know and grow, get a bigger view, or a different view. So just leave those comments if you could. That would be awesome. Another one of these things in society, different cultures of the world, different places of the world, fathers are viewed to have high value in social roles in whichever society they're in, whatever town they're in, I should say, and also, of course, to designate how old they are. So, in different places, age is also represented here. Which is something to be talked about when it comes to elders. Again, it's not so much here in this continent, but in other parts of the world, where we all kind of honestly generate from, fatherhood, motherhood, grandparents, your elders are held in high esteem. Not only just because of the role they're given, or the name that we give to them, but because of the knowledge that they hold, because there's something to be said about those who have lived a life before those who are living it, and the help that they give by letting them know what's coming. That's invaluable. It's almost like a living time machine, if you will. Which leads into my next point, kind of my final point here on this Father's Day edition of the Sunday Message, is breaking some of these norms. This is the part of the different view of fatherhood. So, of course, there's always someone has to be making the money. And because of how society is built, we do have an economy. We spend money, we save money. All those things generate, and for most, it's supposed to be a healthy dynamic. Of course, when greed is involved, when jealousy is involved, when there's covetousness, certain words that are used, when those things start to rear their head, that's where it throws off balances and dynamics, and it affects even fathers and mothers. It stops them from being the people they need to be inside their family, both to themselves internally and externally to their spouses and kids and so on. And with that said, that does, as fathers, don't don't think, while there is still an importance, all people have an importance. Certain things are built inside people to do, and that's all peoples. Specifically with males, society has built, and again, I say it this way because there is an importance as a male, but it is not to say that you reject everyone else as a result of your maleness, if you will. So in that regard, especially given the way society is, sometimes it will take the pressure off if you don't look at, I always have to be the breadwinner. While you have a responsibility to provide, and males do have a responsibility to provide for their families, do not neglect those around you who can help you to provide. I think too many times we tunnel vision life instead of broadening the spectrum, and we miss the things that are right outside that tunnel vision because we just really either refuse or just won't look at it. But it can help us, and when it comes to providing and monetary support, this also goes into emotional support. Men really do have to look past this idea where they're not emotional. I think a lot of that has been fed into society to manipulate people to be able to take from them, things that don't belong to them, but especially when you can affect leaders. And again, women and men are both leaders in this, which is why I shout out not only to stepdads, but also to women who have been the father figure in homes because of how horrible society has been. What people have done in society is really more or less what I should say, what people have driven it to. It is robbed the dynamic of having a male figure, having that person that gives that type of guidance. And women have had to pick up the slack on that. That's not to say that they cannot show father figure specifications, if you will, or father figure like ideals, because you can. As women, you can. And maybe this will help some women here that are in these types of roles, because it is not easy. It's not easy to have to show life to little humans from a place where you don't know. And a lot of times that's because people don't share. Same thing with men on the other side when it comes to feminine tendencies. The stigma that you can't be, which kind of ties in what I'm talking about here with emotions. You have to be able to show the full spectrum. Doesn't make you less manly because you cry. Again, this is Sunday message here. So when we're talking about Jesus weeping, and verses in the Bible that talk about Jesus' heart being moved with compassion, looking out on the people. There's certain things there we have to take mental cues on that is trying to be portrayed in the Bible. Almost like leaving a letter for someone for them to pick up on certain cues about how they either cared for them after they passed on and things of that nature. There's a reason men need to show emotion, especially in places of leadership. And this is for anybody who takes leadership. But men, again, speaking specifically on men, you have to understand you cannot lead and not show emotion. People need to know you care about something. They need to know you're passionate about it. It doesn't make you any less manly because you're passionate about it, because you cry about it, you get angry about it. We have to be responsible with our emotions, of course, but never to the point where we hold back on showing certain emotions. It means something when you get upset on something. It means something when you cry about something. And then a lot of society today is kind of been raised, if you will, to reject that kind of thinking. But that is still there, very clear under the surface. People's emotions are necessary to show. And again, in a responsible manner, in a respectful manner. But and in not showing it, we actually do damage. Couple couple different verses here. Going to switch this up a little bit and just leave a few different little points. Again, I know there may be some people here who don't believe in Christianity, and again, I apologize here. But instruction. So in Proverbs, in Proverbs 4, the first verse, it talks about instructing. It talks to children to listen to fathers' instruction. So that means fathers have to be instructing their kids. It's important to teach. You have to show. You cannot hold accountable and discipline and not show. That actually does a very counterproductive thing. Before you can hold them accountable, you've got to show them. And in order to do that, you've got to learn. And a lot of life has been stripped away from the learning something. Especially today, a lot of things are being challenged on how you learn, where you learn, getting information. A lot of that is done on purpose, again, because greed is behind it, driving people to take from someone else unfairly. But at the same time, you cannot instruct if you don't learn. So I would encourage us all, really, all as guys, learn the things that guys go through, that men go through. And this goes back into this emotional thing. Do not be scared to talk to each other as men. There is something about that where you're able to speak to something with conviction, with understanding, even if you've made wrong, even if you've done wrong in your life, whether it's been something that sent you to jail or something as simple as being slapped in the face because you asked a woman to dance with you or something at a party, anything along that line. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to share it to those who want to hear it. That's very powerful. The next one here is a big one, which is do not provoke your kids to anger. Many times and this is people too, not just kids, but people in general. A lot of this ties in one to the other. A lot of times we kind of single focus on something, but you can't forget in single focusing on stuff that it actually ties into something else. Not only in Ephesians 6, the 4th verse that talks about provoking kids, but also reiterates it, and it's in a couple places in the Bible, but it also reiterates it specifically in Colossians. The one in Colossians here, I was just looking at today, kind of hit me pretty big because a lot of this happens with kids, and then we see it on the back and we don't know why, and many times we are the cause. As dads, we are the cause. As fathers, we are the cause of it. And again, this is a team effort, so it's both fathers and mothers, but it talks about that when you provoke your kids to wrath, you lead them to discouragement. That's the idea that's talked about in that Colossians verse. And many times you look at kids today. This isn't a spoiler for the Spider-Man movie that just came out here just recently, but even in that movie, you see where Miles' dad, his stubbornness is stopping him from helping his son be the best hero he can be, even though not knowing he is a hero. And many times we always have to be aware of the unknown. Many times we operate in the known and we talk to people from the known, but sometimes you can help someone with knowledge you give them on something that you don't know. And that's something that we have to be more aware of. You don't know what the other person is going through in their life, which is why you should act a certain way. That's why you got to be ready to be compassionate, to show emotion, to give instruction, because you don't know. You don't know what kid just made fun of your son or daughter in class the day before, and they're struggling with something you might say. Also, don't be afraid to ask questions. Of course, it's respectful. You don't want to pry into your kid's life to the point where they shut down on you. But at the same time, get involved. When they see that, eventually it might take a little bit, but when they and a little bit might be a real little bit, but when they see that resonates, this person cares about me. My mom, my dad, they care about me. My dad loves me. When you see certain things like that, when you reiterate how much you love your kids, letting them know that, not being afraid that it'll make you like some one of these horrible terms that people use to describe folks today that they think are too quote unquote feminine is Nancy boy. That's an old one, horrible one, but an old one. And it does not make you a sissy or a Nancy boy, all the other weird terms they've used when you show compassion. For some odd reason, people think that people can't fight or protect because they have to be this hardened person. They honestly were misinformed. They were misinformed. A person who has a hardened exterior can fight just the same as a person who doesn't show a hardened exterior. They just don't realize it. That word provoke there, when you look at the definition of it, talks about stimulating or giving rise or occasion to. So it's just one of those things where all of us together as families and neighborhoods and churches and libraries, mosques, it does not matter where. It does not matter where. Get the ability to not do things purposefully or on purpose, as the term goes, or provoke. All you're doing is leading your those around you down a path of discouragement, and from there only leads to failure, which is why you see a lot of what you see today. People have given up, and it takes folks like myself and other people that we know in our lives to encourage us to be better again, to not provoke, to help, to do the opposite. So, I mean, that's the thing. As much as there is the training and the discipline part of it that we've all been called to do, let's not forget the other side. Because I think in that it will actually help the trainings and all of the teachings and the instructions and the discipline. It will help all of it stick better. Of course, you'll still have things like the prodigal son, for instance. Children that, just take what the parents gave them. I'm going to go out on my own, do my thing. Even in that, remember, do not lose a single focus over the fact that you could help someone. And that includes a prodigal son or daughter. They need us. I think a lot of life sometimes beats us down to thinking that we're not needed in many, many respects, but including inside our families, we are needed as fathers. That's really strong and important to realize that we have not lost meaning. That we have a purpose till the last breath, that we have purpose. And to not, put yourself in around places and around people that help generate that purpose. Many times we're around such superficial things in life that we forget ourselves, that being around those types of environments pushes us away from forgetting who we are, who our purpose is, those dreams in our heart and stuff like that. You wake up from a dream in the middle of the night thinking about it and all of those kinds of things. Like we have importance. Another one of these things here is an inheritance. And I think as much as the provoke thing is important, and it is, understanding that when you talk about a father being an important figure in origin or starting something in early history or the history of something, when you're the beginning point, the term father is normally tied to that. So this last point here is dealing with leaving an inheritance for your family, for your kids, doing stuff. One of the messages that I had here on my podcast dealt with working hard for yourself. Do not lose fact as a father, and again, talking from a biblical perspective, which more of this is life. Just as much as it's something that's shown in the Bible, it's a life principle where you should be working to leave something for those behind you, which is a whole other topic as far as how people acquire things. But the generation after us, while they have to work hard for things inside the generation they will live in, they should not be working extra That's what we're here for right now. We're here now to give them what they need to start off in their own journey. Too many times, I think, because we get stuck on a misplaced area of pride, we think we have to groom them to do what we do. And that's not the point. Every person, while still interconnected, every person is still separated to be themselves. Which is the wild, heavy responsibility in having kids, in having friends, in being married. Specifically talking about fathers. But again, when you look at fathers through the aspect of being an important figure in something, or being the origin or the starting point of a new thing, it kind of broadens the perspective even past a father per se of a child, which is where it comes into people that they call step parents and stuff like that. Kids that are not quote unquote your own, but you assume that responsibility, you take that responsibility, which is important because all people need someone to provide for them, to protect them, to hold them up. And I'm sorry, ladies and gents, if I come across a little passionate about it. But I think I've just seen for so long so much hurt and pain from kids who have come up to talk to me, parents who talk to me about stuff they go through in their lives, that it's just time to help. It's just time to show the other path. So that's where we'll stop here today, ladies and gents. Hope you enjoyed this Sunday message, Father's Day version. And as always, look to find the beauty in a different view.